This week, we look at the high-tech world of pregnancy.
From getting pregnant to parenting, there's an app for everything.
Along with baby gear and gadgets galore.
I'm Steve Rosenbaum, and this is Future Forward.
I'm Alexa Scordato. Let's launch.
All right, Alexa. So last week we did Halloween, not your favorite holiday, my favorite holiday. This week, these links all come from you because I am some number of undescribable years away from having little babies. But I have to say, looking at the links, fascinating, incredibly fascinating.
So I had no idea this content or this whole world of high-tech parenting existed until very recently. For our longtime listeners, I'm very happy to disclose that I am about 21 weeks pregnant. And so
Woo!
I am expecting my first little one in March.
So my immediate question as we go through all of these apps and all of these services and all of these tools is, which ones do you have actual experience using and have been successful for you? And it turns out that I thought when we first talked about this a couple of weeks ago that we were going to do baby gear, but the truth of the matter is that the journey from thinking about getting pregnant to being pregnant to having a child has whole chunks of different software as you move through it, which I did not know.
It's a little bit weird. So, just to kind of context set, both my husband and I are like early adopters. We work in tech and marketing, and we are actually overwhelmed. Like, I can't imagine people who are not us just navigating all of this stuff. And we're kind of oscillating between being super high tech and getting all of the like latest, greatest connected gear, and then just being like very old school and having none of it. So,
all right. Well, so we're going to do this in 3 chapters. Let's just start with chapter 1 because it's a really good place to start. And that is, okay, we're going to conceive. What do we need to know? I wonder if, and there's no way to know this, I wonder if planning pregnancy is a relatively new phenomenon.
I think so. Some things that I've read, like 1 in 25 women miscarry. I have many friends who have struggled to even conceive. And so they've resorted to things like IVF, or they've adopted, which is, a whole other set of topics and links. But I think what is new or just starting to emerge is health tech for women. This is still an underinvested space, and I think it's one that I'm increasingly excited about. So we pulled up this list of fertility apps. And so fertility apps actually have a huge Venn diagram overlap with period tracking devices. So Period Tracker, Clue, these are all apps that I have had experience with. And so that's kind of like where you start. And then all of a sudden you decide you want to have a kid, and then the app just plays a different role.
There's a lot of apps here.
Yeah.
Is there one like that? I mean, we're not going to go through all of them. Is there one that you would say you're happy with? Was the right mix of complexity and accuracy?
I haven't tried all of them, but I do use Clue, or I was using Clue for years. Many of my girlfriends recommended it. It is founded by a team of women. And so I've had great experiences with it. So I could recommend it.
So at the risk of sounding wildly naive for the next half hour, I had no idea. I still have almost no idea what basal body temperature is.
Yeah. So neither did I, again, until recently. Like it is the temperature in your body that is optimal in terms of like ovulation. And so for couples who are trying to get pregnant, not only will they track your ovulation cycle, which is basically when your body releases an egg and it can be fertilized, but it's also what are the prime conditions, like down to almost the hour sometimes.
So this is not putting a thermometer under your tongue and looking at it's a totally different number.
Yeah. And there are actually, so you have all of these apps to track your cycle. And then you also have all of these basal thermometers, which is another link that we have here.
Yeah. So let's look at basal thermometers, because it turns out, who knew?
Yeah. And a lot of them are also connected to digital. They're digital thermometers connected to apps.
Digital. So put at the risk of being creepy, although there's going to be some creepy in this whole podcast, I think. As a marketer, what data can you get if someone puts their basal body temperature out into the cloud? What do you?
Oh, Steve, your sound cut out. Uh-oh. All right. Anyway, I think maybe what Steve is going to ask is what kind of data could be collected or tracked when you're using these apps. And so your basal body temperature, again, if you say, okay, I have this like fertility window that maybe is like 2 or 3 days, you want to actually be tracking your basal temperature within that period, because when it reaches the optimal temperature, which I don't know off the top of my head, that is actually the time when you and your partner should try to conceive. So it's I would say, like, again, a lot of these apps, what they have in common is the premium you are paying for is data privacy. So as a marketer, if I wanted to reach basically like leads or like women who I know are trying, these apps and these products are probably the best way for me to identify women who are thinking about motherhood, women who are thinking about fertility. And, that's probably the best time to expose them to then a whole slew of products and other things.
And you can track backwards to, preschool, middle school, high school, college.
Right. This is like one of the most valuable target demos you could capture. And to do it early in that journey is pretty invaluable.
So you've tried a bunch of these things. Have you deleted a bunch? Like, have you settled and said, okay, this is you bought a thermometer?
I did not buy a thermometer.
Okay. That I strangely kind of almost think that's good news that you didn't go all in on every gadget.
Well, some people really, we were lucky in that we had an easier time than some, but it's incredible the number of products or even just the progress we've made on the science front in terms of helping families do, address family planning in general.
All right. So let's move to that chapter and talk about this baby list, $40 million, because again, didn't know baby list existed.
So I have a baby list account because we are starting to create our registry. I also want to say that in the last 2 years, I have seen baby registries appear on Amazon and Target, etc. And the last 3 baby registries that I've been sent, again, this is super anecdotal, were actually baby list. So it's like an aggregator. It's if you've used wedding registry sites or seen wedding registry sites like Zola, it's kind of the same thing, but for registries, and they just raise this massive round. And again, the value isn't so much necessarily in the content or the utility of the registry. It's the fact that the subscriber is worth such a premium, right? Because for me, as an expecting mother, I'm probably going to spend $21,000 in 2022 on my child, at least.
Will anything be gold plated?
No, that's just what I read is the average cost of having like a newborn. And I think because of supply chain issues, like Steve, guess how much a pack of Huggies or Pampers diapers are right now if you go to like Target or Amazon.
$4.
For a pack, $40 to $50.
What?
I know. I said the same thing. I was shopping on a friend's registry and she had a bunch of diapers um, listed. And when I went to go check out, I had really front loaded a bunch of them and I was shocked. So I don't know if you want to go to here. I'm looking on Amazon.com right now and I'm looking at Huggies Little Snugglers for 12 to 18-pound babies. Um, so this is actually a mega pack. It's 180 diapers. But yeah, it's like $50.
And if I remember correctly, didn't Amazon both threaten to buy diapers.com and also compete with them? Wasn't there a whole ruthless Amazon acquisition thing that ended up with them buying diapers.com?
Yeah.
And essentially shutting it down. I don't even know if it still exists.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have, again, if you're going to go through 120 diapers a month, spending $40 to $50 on diapers isn't trivial, And then formula is expensive. So, again, the competition for moms to be and educating them on products is so fierce and ferocious. And baby list, again, you can think of it just on service level as okay, the utility of a registry app, but it's really like a lead gen machine for this entire category of products.
So, well, first question: if you lost your phone, how much is your phone, your iPhone, I presume, now central to lists and devices and cycles and gear that we're going to get into in a minute? Like, is it the center of the universe?
No, because there's actually really good browser based experiences. Like a lot of the shopping I do is on the browser, but that's not to say though that if I'm scrolling on Instagram or something, I mean, I'm getting retargeted hardcore and I have texts from people sending me links all the time. So that is sort of where my phone and sort of the easy to save, easy to add features are pretty key.
I guess the social question that I'm thinking about is, if you're somebody that's not, in a middle or above income bracket, how do you afford having a baby or two? Like,
So I think there are things like there are generic brands that you can buy. You don't have to buy Huggies or Pampers. Also, the shelf life in terms of the use for lots of these products isn't very long. So I already have like two women who are sending me like boxes of clothes
oh,
because their son was born in June and they already have outgrown clothes that fit him in the first 3 months.
interesting. So there's a whole sharing. I mean, we have that in our building where people are like, I have a crib or I have a stroller.
I mean, the economy of today's parent and tech parenting is pretty wild.
All right, so let's get to gear because I'm not going to lie, I found this a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, this is where it almost feels like a second job for me because I'm reading up on all of these products and I just I don't know.
All right, so let's just go through them because this is a good list. This is Baby List's gear offering. Or let's start with this smart car seat. I've only owned dumb car seats.
Right. And this one has like a sensor, so I think it knows if you're if it's like in properly, how the baby's moving in it. It's like a connected device.
$499 for the smart car seat.
Steve, when I tell you the amount of hours of research I've done, so I'm not getting this smarter car seat, by the way. Instead, I'm opting into a more classic, what they call travel system, where a car seat can pop out of the car and then pop in to a container, which is then becomes your carriage or stroller. And they call those travel systems. So it's a car seat and stroller, 2-in-1.
So at some point in your child's life, you're going to have to sit down with him or her and say, let me tell you about the travel system we bought for you.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of that, him or her, I am not going to find out the sex of the baby until we deliver. But it's a totally different set of links. I considered incorporating them into this show. Sonogram technology has come so far. So I did a sonogram last Friday. It could scan the baby's internal organs, skeletal layer, and then the sonographer checks, like, does the baby have 5 fingers, 5 toes on each hand and foot?
So you need to say to the doctor or whoever the person operating the system is, like, before you start, I don't want to know about whatever male or female.
Oh yeah. And there was like a blood test that I took in like 10 weeks that also would have picked up on the sex, and I had to have all of that like censored for me.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, so let's go through a couple more. So we're not getting the smarter car seat. Sound machine can operate from your phone. Sound machine is an item that we think every baby belongs on every baby registry. White noise and other ambient sounds can help babies sleep better and longer.
We are looking at white noise machines. I don't know if it needs to be like app enabled. Like we don't live like in a big apartment, probably for people with houses and they have to like run up and down the stairs. Like stuff like this is really helpful.
I'm going to put my 2 cents in here. You want the app because then you can schedule it. You can say,
I mean, I hope I could schedule my kids' sleep routine,
no.
but that seems like a luxury.
You can change the sound, so you can have the go to sleep sound and then the sleep sound. I don't know. I'd go for $59. See, $499 for the smart seat. I'd be out of that, but like $59, put it on the registry.
And I also feel like this is something that I would use as an adult.
Interesting. Although you'll have to get a different one with different soundtracks. All right, let's keep going. Video monitor. Well, so this is famous.
Yeah.
Video monitor that tracks breathing. Hadn't heard of that.
Yeah. So here's what I found so far in my research is that some of these devices can be really hit or miss. And one of the more negative aspects to the tech is that it creates a heightened sense of alarm and false positives. So there are devices like this. There's also like an ankle sock that you can put on your baby and it'll track breathing patterns, etc. And yeah, I know parents who have like discarded them pretty quickly.
I know nothing about the statistics behind crib death, except that when you hear about it, it's horrific and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean, is it 1 in 1,000 or 1 in I have no idea.
And of course, you want to do everything you possibly can. So I understand why people want to make the additional investment. It's just almost like you're too alerted.
Well, this is a larger conversation about data and where we are as a society.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been shutting off notifications like nobody's business.
Yeah.
All right. Thermometer that automatically alerts you to fever.
So, okay, here's the tea on thermometers. I have been told by about 5 different people, some nurses, some are parents, that the most accurate and still tried and true tested way to take your baby's temperature is a rectal thermometer. And that, really shouldn't try to go too high tech in this direction.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know. Yes.
So you could literally have your phone full of apps. You could have like all this, just monitoring
every aspect of your child.
Yeah.
tracking changing pad. This I don't think we'll do. We'll probably just weigh our kid in when we go see the doctor. Uh, this is interesting. This next one, a suitcase and a smart travel sleep solution. So I actually like this because it's a product that can kind of age up or grow with your kid. So this little device here, it it is a suitcase, like it's mini, so your kid can tote it around. It's not for a newborn; it's more for like a toddler. And then it can actually expand and flip open, so it almost acts like a little mini kid's bed if you're traveling on a plane. I think that's actually pretty smart.
I will tell you, having gone on a bunch of vacations with small children, the different shaped boxes that you have to bring, the different little, you know, like different shaped baby boxes for the beach, for the hotel room, and none of the hotels have any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this looks handy. I like to see the images to see how it opens up. All right, hands-free breast pump.
So breast pumps are one of those items that are actually very, very expensive. There isn't a single breast pump I've looked at that is cheaper than $250. And the most expensive one I've seen is like $400. The one here, this LV breast pump, the appeal to it is that it's completely hands-free. I actually have coworkers who swear by this because they're on calls or working, and they basically don't have to feel as like strapped into a machine.
Um, a bottle that preserves nutrients in breast milk.
Yeah, this is like a whole rabbit hole I haven't gone down. Like, you don't know if you're going to breastfeed or go formula. And it's just, I think investments like this are a little tough because some women, frankly, just can't breastfeed. And Steve, let me tell you, the sort of very strong opinions about breastfeeding versus formula don't even go there.
A little political. Yeah,
It's wild. It's almost like as polarizing as like wearing masks, like mask discourse in this country.
interesting. All right, baby food maker that does it all.
Yeah, this is the stuff where I'm like, I could probably just get away using my like blender.
Baby cuisine, baby cook is your one-stop shop for all things homemade baby food. Yeah, it does look like a blender.
And the reality is like there is a need or there is a market for this kind of product because when you look at baby food, it is not necessarily the greatest for your kid. Think about the average consumer or health conscious consumer who's paleo, keto, or celiac, gluten free, vegan, whatever. Like if you want to be the kind of parent that's going to know every single thing that you put in your kid's mouth, then yeah, there are a bunch of products for that.
Okay,
this is my last favorite. This is my favorite.
This is the most expensive. This is where?
This is the snoo, the bassinet.
Oh yeah, the most expensive thing on the list.
This is where my husband and I are like kind of stuck because we know people who swear by this. We also know people who have been so desperate for their child to sleep, they've hired night nurses for, I kid you not, like $7,000 a month. And so when you think about if you're anchored to a price point of $7,000 a month, where you're hiring someone to basically take a nighttime shift to watch your kids sleep, $1,600 doesn't really sound like a lot, but it's a lot of money. It's a $1,600 bassinet, Steve.
But wait.
There are other bassinets that are like $200.
But Target has it for $5.95.
So there are refurbished ones, and there are also programs when you go to the SNOO website where you can rent them monthly for like $199. And the thing is, this is like it, I feel like a lot of these products, like building a registry, I feel like I'm gambling, Steve, because you don't know what your baby's gonna like. Also, this is the kind of product that only lasts until the kid is 4 to 6 months old, and then they get too big for it.
So I just want to say you've used the word snoo in a sentence now 3 times without any irony. Is it like a Dr. Seuss word?
I guess so. I don't know. There's like all this like cutesy vocabulary for
I,
these products.
so I will tell you that in our case, what I remember and what I always advise, this is now a long time ago, but we had a baby swing, and we originally had one you cranked up.
Oh, there are now app
Yeah,
controlled swings.
we didn't like the cranked one because it ran out of crank, and we found a battery powered one, two C batteries and a little switch, which literally saved our life because it would just go, and the baby doesn't care whether it's in the car or you're holding it or the swing is going. They just like the motion, and I now app controlled swing. All right, I might have to update my reference. All right, and then genius innovations to meet babies. But actually, let's go to the next page because I want to make sure we have time for this. This is more high tech gear, but I don't know if we have to. Oh, this is the smart sock.
There's a smart sock. Yeah, it's almost like wearing an Apple Watch on your kid's ankle, and it's going to track like its heart rate, its sleeping.
How much is the smart sock? I would buy the smart sock. I think
a few $100, I think. Yeah.
All right. So now, just as we run out of time, let's talk for a little bit about books. So the What to Expect When You're Expecting book is now an app.
Yep. There's also a book I read recently, Expecting Better. It was written by an economist, and it's a more science-y, stat-oriented way of looking at parenting.
And then the last thing we'll do is let's talk about the Pew Research Center piece on parenting children in the age of screens. Now, this is not a pre-birth or a 1 to 6 year old, but fairly early on, right?
It's like a real consideration. So I wanted to talk about this because, I have made a choice not to post like a ton. I'm not documenting a ton of content. Like I know friends who have posted like videos of their sonograms. Sure. I think like Katy Perry is a celebrity, for example. And so it makes for an interesting conversation, which is for digital parents. What are the trade-offs, pros and cons of actually creating an online identity for your fetus and baby?
And do you have a girl's name and a boy's name, or you haven't gone down that?
We're just actively talking about it. We have like 4 months to decide.
Names are a big deal.
Names are a big deal. I saw my grandmother yesterday. She had some opinions. My mother-in-law has some opinions. Everyone has some opinions.
So here's the good news.
And there's no tech that's going to solve that.
You could do a vote. You could do a group voting thing. But here's the good news. Having been through this a couple of times, whatever you choose, they'll be fine with.
Yeah. There's a really old Vox article from 2019 because I've been researching like people's perspectives on this topic. From this article, it said that some studies suggest kids will have over 1,000 pictures of them on social media before they're 5 years old. And I don't know, like I think about how annoyed I get as an adult if there are like photos that I don't want on the internet. And so I really feel like I need to kind of wait or hold off on just having this, sharenting. That was the phrase. Sharenting.
I have this feeling that's changing. I think that was a moment in time. I think more and more is in closed networks I don't know. I see less and less family pictures on Facebook and more on Instagram, and much narrower communities, much more carefully shared.
It's a whole other set of products and categories, private photo albums, private sharing. It's just, I still see a ton of it on Instagram, Steve.
Did you look at Tiny Beans?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, my friend was a founder and runs Tiny Beans.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we are out of time. Very exciting. We won't check in every week on how you're doing, but I do think there will be some other milestones that our audience will be interested in, and we'll, and by the way, love hearing from you guys. Thank you. We got some nice notes last week. If anyone has other things, we'll add it to the show notes, and we'll add all of these links to the show notes so we can share Alexa's wisdom and experience.
Trial and error.
All right. See you next week.
See you.